Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast. For those of you who watch British television, you will have noticed this week that all of us are wearing little red flowers in our clothes. It's a little pin that we wear, and that's called a poppy. And we do that around the time of Remembrance Day. Today is Remembrance Day in the UK. Remembrance Day is a day when we remember people who died in the wars, not only our relatives and friends, but people who have fought for our democracy in the past. Remembrance Day is very important for some people, especially older people, because they, of course, would remember their parents fighting in the war. Less and less of us, fewer and fewer of us, wear poppies now, and I'm not sure if younger people really understand what the war represented and what was being fought for. I know that even in my generation, and I'm old there, uh, we didn't really understand what the war was all about or for. We were just told by our parents, you wear the poppies. That's it. You wear the poppy. So, yeah, for many people, I don't think they really understand anymore about what was at stake with the war. But anyway, Remembrance Day marks a time of national reflection as we remember the brave people who sacrificed everything in the First World War. And that's now been extended, of course, to the Second and to all wars. The Royal British Legion charity, which is the people who organise this Remembrance Day, it refers to it as a national opportunity to remember the service and sacrifice of all those that have defended our freedoms and protected our way of life. This was a really big deal for my grandparents. Obviously, it was something that affected them a lot. But for me, I'm sorry to say that I see little memories of the war. I mean, in every town here, there is a war memorial. Uh, yeah, there are war memorials in every town, but I'm not sure these things are enough for us to remember. Every town has a war memorial celebrating the names of those people who died during the war. But I think it's not really enough to educate us about it. Anyway, we mark this day with a 1 or 2 minute silence, which falls at 11 a.m. This is because at this time, on November the 11th, 1918, World War I came to an end as a peace agreement was finally signed, seeing the bloodshed ceased, but not before millions of lives were lost. I don't think that sentence is right. Seeing the bloodshed ceased. I think it should be World War I came to an end as a peace agreement was finally signed, seeing that the bloodshed had ceased, but not before millions of lives were lost. Oh, very sad, very sad. Well, to be honest with you, trying to get any good customer service here these days is really dreadful. Calling banks and call centers for anything, you don't really get a response, or you're left on the line for 20, 30 minutes. So having a minute's silence will just give these companies more opportunities to ignore me, I think. On Sunday, there will be a large parade with the king. He'll take a wreath of poppies and he'll lay them down at the Cenotaph, the big war memorial in London. and joining him will be European royals. And they're all cousins, aren't they? The European royal families. But anyway, they'll all be in London as well, laying their respects. I never understood why they did that. I mean, you would think, for example, the King and Queen of Sweden would be in Stockholm doing the same thing. But actually, no, most leaders across Europe all come to London. And I don't know why London is of particular significance. Maybe it's just because of the role we played in the war. I don't know. So if you get the chance, do watch the parade on Sunday morning, British time. It usually starts around 10 a.m. British, and there will be more moments of silence. I think today we have a moment of silence at 11. On Sunday, it'll be the same. 2 minutes silence, but we have to shut up. Well, maybe a good time for me to do my hoovering, maybe my vacuuming. But anyway, yeah, if you can watch that, that would be great. It's a very interesting show. It's very solemn, and the presenter, I think, has been doing it for years. It's a bit like the Queen's funeral, you know. He will be talking like, and now the King is approaching the cenotaph. He's wearing a suit made for him today by a particular company in London. The wreath he is holding is largely symbolic of all the people who've died. His Queen Consort Camilla, dressed in black today, a gift given to her by an African leader when she visited in 2017. It's more like a fashion show, you know. So if you get the chance, do listen to that because it's full of the usual British pomp and ceremony, which a lot of people love. About its deeper meaning of death and the war, sadly, much of this information now is being swept away. I doubt that in the future this celebration, if I can call it that, will carry on. I think most of us want to move on, but at the same time, we also want to remember our grandparents and their parents and the people that died during the war. But yeah, I think younger people growing up will have a very different view of that, I suppose. And the papers this morning are saying fewer and fewer of us are even wearing poppies. I wouldn't even know where to buy one. It's been so long since I've seen anyone selling them. They used to be everywhere. They would even come to the house and knock on the door to sell poppies. But I think now there's some expectation that you'll just go online and buy one. Well, I didn't. But of course, I do feel very sad about the war. So that's it. Remembrance Day today. So we all have to act a little bit somber. And that's it. So see you all. Bye.